Welcome to episode 11 of the Fitasylum podcast. Today, I'm super excited to say we have my favourite student, Corey, on. I'd say former student. And I know you shouldn't have favourites, guys, but I am super excited to have Corey on for a number of reasons. He epitomised everything that we asked a student to do. He worked really hard, went out of his way to progress himself and put a lot of hours in that were probably not as necessary. No. So Corey, tell us a little bit about yourself, pal. Tell us about where we can find you on social media. Tell us about your coaching business. Tell us just about you, mate.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at C_A_fitness. And currently, I've finally dialed in my coaching and I'm looking at males that are looking to lose weight or potentially go on a bodybuilding journey.
Nice. And just as a translation for everyone else, Facebook is Facebook to me and you. But yeah, you've said recently found that. So is that over the last year you've honed in your skills?
Probably shorter than that. Because when I first started it, I was just taking anyone and everyone just to get started.
As everyone does.
Worst idea though, because you just don't enjoy it.
No, you don't, because you're doing clients that you're not passionate about. In the last podcast, we talked to Hall about how she very, very quickly found her niche of menopause. So yours is a little bit different. You're looking at men who are looking to go on to a bodybuilding journey. And why have you chose that as your clientele?
Because it's something I'm passionate about, and I've found when I'm passionate about it, makes the sessions with other people and that like connection with them 10 times better.
And also you're very relatable with it because your training will probably match the similar sort of training that they're doing, your nutritional match, and you can you'll constantly read up about it. I know you do a lot of reading and research of your own. And that's one of the reasons I say Corey was my favourite student, because I remember throughout the course, he was so quiet, and then every time I gave him something to improve on or come back with, because even his coaching was very quiet at the start, he just kind of came back and you could tell he'd really improved on it. But not only that, is he'd literally read or watched everything I told him to do. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely.
I remember we did a workshop on squat, bench and deadlift at my gym probably about a year ago now. And you were like, you told me to do this, this and this, didn't you, Nick? And I was like, yeah. And you'd literally, it's like you'd taken every single word and coaching cue, and you was like, this is the coaching cue I use, Nick. Is this right? And I was like, wow. And you've really taken it on board. And I think that's huge testament. But you also, one of the other things you did to develop was you went out your comfort zone. So you did a lot of bodybuilding, but you came and did some powerlifting for a few months. So tell us about
that. It was good. It was nice to get out of my comfort zone and go and experience something different, and not only that, like learn a different side to lifting. Yeah. Because I think bodybuilding is quite easy in a sense, but there's different things that come with powerlifting that I had no idea about. So it was good to like learn those new little techniques and stuff. Like
the first day we talked about lifting shoes, belts, how to use it properly, Valsalva maneuver, different sort of training protocols and I guess styles. So you were probably, would it be fair to say you were more used to using dumbbells, machines, maybe a little bit of barbell, but not in the same concepts? It wouldn't be the prime kind of like lift.
No, it'd be a lot of like dumbbells and machine work rather than free bar kind of work.
Yeah, free weight and stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you said you enjoyed coming out of your comfort zone, but that first drive, so your drive was about 40-50 minutes up. How scared were you that first day?
Oh, I was breaking it because...
You were so quiet.
Yeah, completely new area. Didn't know anyone around here apart from you.
I don't think I was there that first session, was I?
No, I was with Nathan, so completely like thrown out of my depth. And at that time, I wasn't very confident as it was anyway, so going to like a completely new area, scary.
Different gym, completely different modality of training, not knowing anyone, and you're training in a group, so it's really good. But did you learn a lot from that?
Oh, loads.
Yeah, good. And would you recommend to other students to get out of their comfort zone, go and try other forms of training?
Definitely. You can only benefit from it. Even if you don't like it, you'll still come away with something. So
I always say this. I did a lot of like free kind of coaching hours while I was at university. And I went to work with a sprint coach. Never thought I was going to be a sprint coach. Never have been a sprint coach. But the stuff I learned was really transferable. Even went and looked at like training sessions for rugby players, went and looked at training sessions for handball and ultimate frisbee and all these things. You can take little bits away from them and incorporate. So like some of my warm-ups are a little bit off the cuff, but they're a little bit different because I've stolen from other sports. And something Joe DeFranco always says is the best coach is the best thief, because you can steal other little ideas from other coaches and incorporate them and kind of help your clients with them. So it's a really interesting way of developing. And I highly recommend anyone listening that you get out of your comfort zone, try something different. You might be against something like CrossFit, but until you try it, you're never really going to understand it. Same with powerlifting, weightlifting, even bodybuilding. Go and try all these different areas. So it's really interesting that Corey said that was beneficial to him. So tell us a little bit about your PT course with Fitasylum then, because obviously you did it with us in person.
Yeah.
Quite a big group, wasn't it? It's like 12.
Yeah, and then it kept dropping off.
Yeah,
towards the end.
12 to start with. We had to tell some people who probably weren't fit enough to be PTs in terms of they didn't have the right attributes.
Probably the best thing I've done, because it's enabled me to get out of a job that I really didn't like.
Tell people what you were doing before you became a personal trainer.
I was a window fitter and I worked in a pizza factory.
You were earning good money, weren't you, as a window fitter?
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
But it was just the graphs that came along with it for what you was making it. They weren't enjoyable. It wasn't enough to keep doing it.
Yeah, 100%. You'd done that job for a while, had you?
About 5 years.
5 years, wow, long time. And PTing, why did you want to be a PT? Like, is there one defined reason that you'd give? Or do you reckon it's a number of reasons?
I think there's probably a few. When I first finished school and went into college, I wanted to be a PE teacher. But because there weren't enough people on my course, they couldn't fund it. So they ended up putting me on a PT course. And I started to enjoy it. And someone talked me out of it and made me drop out of college and start working instead. I think I enjoyed it because I was that dead skinny kid.
Yeah.
And weights was like a comfort zone for me. So then when I dropped out of it, I don't know, I never enjoyed anything else. And then when the opportunity came up and I jumped for it, best decision.
You worked really hard on the course, didn't you? I remember you were always like listening, you were taking so many notes. And I remember, like, even though we had a big class of 12, at first I thought, oh, Corey's going to struggle because he's not very vocal. I don't know how he's going to communicate with clients very well. You had all the knowledge and you were quite good at training, you could do all the demonstrations, but you just didn't perhaps have that communication skill. Would you say that's something you've definitely developed over the last 18 months?
Massively.
Yeah.
If, so at the gym that I'm at now, if a year ago I would have started there and then they would have tried to get me to a class, I'd have gone white, like worse fear. And I still get a bit of like anxiety and stuff about it, but I can still go into a class now and like run it as it's mine and not worry about anyone else anymore. So
you said earlier that your confidence has improved. Off the podcast, you were flexing a little bit about how your classes are always full. So why do you think your classes are always full?
I think, so when I first started doing it, I was still like dead nervous about it because it was a new thing. Whereas now, because I've got a few regular people turning up to my classes and stuff, it's more enjoyable to do it, meaning I'll put more effort into doing it rather than shying away to the side or standing at the back where no one can see me anymore. Yeah. No, I kind of
get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, jump straight into it.
I think that's the title of the podcast, Get Out of Your Comfort Zone, because it sounds like you've done a lot of that over the last 18 months, 2 years, so that's excellent. Tell us about starting your personal training career. So you started off at Total Fitness, obviously you were still working multiple jobs. My advice to Corey was to stick at his 9-to-5 job, build up his PT business on the side. Did you do that, Corey?
No.
Obviously not. Go on, tell us a little bit about that.
Bad idea in hindsight, dropping it. But at the same time, it made me work 10 times harder.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that comfort at the back of me of, oh, it's all right, like I've got this wage coming in. Like I had to make it work, otherwise it wouldn't have done. And it paid off eventually, but
it's paid off now because it was a big risk, out of your comfort zone again, and you just went all in at PT, didn't you? You've recently moved gyms, so you're at where you're at now, pal.
JD,
awesome. And how big's your clientele?
I've took a massive hit in it,
Yeah.
purely through
Moving
gyms,
Yeah.
but now it's on its way back up again.
Awesome.
So just try to stay persistent at it.
Are you still loving the job?
Yeah, a lot more now.
And how many hours a week do you reckon you're PTing?
Currently,
Or coaching, like classes and stuff?
with everything included, probably 25.
25 hours a week? Awesome. That's really good, mate. And has your coaching developed?
Massively.
What has developed?
Well, when I first started, I kind of half-hearted everything. If I was with someone, it'd just be like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I didn't do what I should have done at the beginning.
Yeah.
Whereas now that I've kind of cut down some of the jobs and I can focus more on it, with my clients, they're getting 10 times more out of me because I'm proper enthusiastic about it. Yeah.
Awesome. And what do you think's better about your service? Do you reckon it is the communication skills? What is it?
Yeah, because now, like, I'm fully engaged in what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the face, I'm like, come on.
And is that a combination of you finding your unique selling point in terms of you want to work with bodybuilders? Is that the main reason you kind of more invested in the client? Or is it just a combination of having more time to engage with them, being more passionate about it, knowing that you need to work hard for your livelihood and your career?
I think it's all of that, plus not having burnout.
Yes.
Because I was working so much, I was doing like 60, 70-hour weeks, working between loads of different jobs, barely eating, never training, getting like 3 hours sleep a night. And it just got to a point where I couldn't do any anymore. But now that that's dialed back and I'm more awake and I go into sessions and I'm like, yeah.
You're excited for the client's goals, which is excellent because that's like the passion. And, you know, I think one of the unrealistic expectations for a lot of our students is that they're going to walk into a PT job and they're going to be instantly successful. How untrue is that?
Extremely.
And so, like, if you were going back 18 months now or a year ago, what would you have told yourself? Would you have told yourself to keep the job and work in a gym and build it up slowly?
That, and to not treat it as if you're not working.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, I was like, oh, I can pick my own hours, I don't have to do this day, or I can have rest of this day off.
Well, that's the myth, isn't it? PTs, like, they like to advertise that, oh, I can work whenever I want. You know, it's just an enjoyable job. I kind of just turn up to the gym where I am all the time and I just happen to PT people, which is not true. So I think treating it as a job is very, very important.
Yes, 100%.
Good stuff. And we're going to move on to like your first year as a personal trainer. So tell us a little bit about your first year as a personal trainer, because you've had so many ups and downs. What would you say the highest high is?
Probably towards the end of last year was the best, because that's when I earned the most.
Yeah.
And to be fair, halfway through my first year, it peaked, but then dropped off quite quick.
I remember you telling me you kind of really struggled at the start, and then there was a point where you said, right, actually, I've either got to work really hard or I've just got to go back to my old job. And you chose to work really hard. And how rewarding is that?
Oh, massively. It's happened again recently.
Yeah.
Through like the transition
to a new gym. Yeah.
Not having clients when I've started the new gym, it was kind of like, what do I do again now?
That leads me on to a really good topic. I think gym selection and where you work from is so important. So I know, like, Corey jumped straight into this opportunity. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you only applied for one gym, didn't you?
It was two, because I went to go to the JD in Widnes.
Yes.
But then we ended up talking about it and didn't go through with it.
No, because you were closer to, Total Fitness in Wigan. Obviously, you're at JD Widnes now. Wigan. So you're at JD now anyway.
Yeah.
So for people who are selecting their gyms, and like if they're a PT newly qualified or about to be qualified, what would kind of like the tips and advice you would give them?
I think one would be finding your niche.
Yep.
Quite early, because you can kind of dictate which gym you go to by the people that are there. So if
100%.
you're a powerlifter,
yep,
and then you go to like a leisure club,
I'd struggle.
Yeah, you're not going to get the right type of clients. Whereas, if you want older people and then you go to a backstreet bodybuilder gym, you're not going to get the same type of people as what you actually want. So I think picking your niche and then trying to go to a gym that's
Suits
more,
it.
yeah.
I think that's really important. And I think making sure you have an understanding of each gym has a kind of a different set of skills or a different set of equipment that suits your goals or suits the client's goals in particular. So like, I would really struggle in a gym that didn't have a lifting platform or didn't have like certain barbells. So it's really, really interesting that you said it there about you wanted to go to JD because there's probably more people looking at bodybuilding. So that's great. What would you say the biggest challenge was for yourself in year one?
Confidence.
Wow. Tell me about it.
Because it's still like developing now.
Yep.
But being in a gym with bigger people or older people that have been training longer or whatever it is, I always had in the back of my mind, if I was PTing someone, they'd be looking over being like, what's he doing? Why is he doing that?
Like imposter syndrome.
Yeah, but you just got to learn to just get on with it, like trust yourself.
I know that your knowledge is excellent. I know that you do a lot of your own research and you put a lot of it into practice yourself. So having that confidence to kind of go out there and make sure you apply your own coaching, your own kind of techniques, develop your own coaching style is so important. Would you say you've developed your own style?
Yeah. From when I first started to now, everything's just improved 100 times.
And that's it. I think getting experience is so important. So your first year, you might just be similar to what Holly said about just going there, learning and developing. And that could be your first year. Doesn't have to be monetary, doesn't have to be client-based. But something else you talked about earlier was like how you kind of develop your own knowledge. So how, like for students listening, how would you recommend people develop their knowledge?
One, talking to other people, because there's probably people or PTs in whatever gym that you go to that have been doing it for years, so there's always something that you can take from them. Two, if you've got a tutor, like going through Fitasylum, speak to your tutor, because you'll always get little bits of advice that you need. And three, watching other people or YouTube videos and Google research and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've done a lot of your own research. I think that's really important. You know, if you want to be successful in any industry, you've got to go out of your way to kind of research and broaden your knowledge base as much as you can. And I suppose that comes back to my point earlier of try other disciplines. So in kind of like the rest of 2023, Corey, where do you want to go?
I want to be more online based.
Okay.
Purely for like time wise, it'd suit me more, but I still want to gain more face-to-face PTs because I love that interaction with people and like seeing them get the sweat on and like proper trying for the hell of it.
So you might have like a hybrid approach going forward. You might do 1, 2, 3 days, say, coaching at JD, and then you might do 1 or 2 days online.
Yeah.
Is that where you want to go?
Ideally.
Awesome. And what's stopping you from doing that now?
Money.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, because that's why I've got a second job still.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, because at the minute the second job is there, so I know my stuff's like covered.
Yep.
And then I can just focus on the PT and building that up gradually.
And I'd recommend that for most students. You know, when you start, make sure you've got something that kind of a little job that earns you enough money to pay your essential bills, and then you can build your PT business up. And, you know, I know a lot of students tell me, well, then they'll go part-time and then they'll go PT full-time. And I think that's the best way to go about it personally. Going back to your knowledge, do you think your knowledge has improved now you've started making more content where you're putting out knowledge-based information?
Yeah, because it's making me, like, I might have a basic idea or something, but before I post a video about it, I'll go and do a little bit more digging into it, see why you should do it, and then I'll post it. And
I know I told you this at the weekend, but I show a lot of our students Corey's content because it's really, really good. And you can see an obvious development from it just being a training video to then or a picture even, then a training video that you talked over. And now you're actually talking in the videos with captions, with a microphone, giving out really, really good quality information, even giving tips, techniques, all sorts of stuff. So tell us a little bit about your content creation journey.
But that was another one about confidence and stuff, because I've been umming and ahhing about it for ages. And then I was talking to one of the lads at the gym, and like my missus, and they was both like, just do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, what if you don't like it, you can always delete it.
Yeah. So would that be the tip that you would give people listening? If to create their own content, just do it?
Yeah. Well, like, the more you hold back, the less you're going to want to do it, and the more you'll procrastinate against it. Because if you just do it, What's the worst?
And you could start off really simple like Cora did, post a picture, then post a training video, then post maybe you talking over the training video, and then you actually getting in front of the camera. I reckon you find making content now a lot easier.
Oh, loads. Like, it was only a couple of weeks ago that I actually started talking. Not even, like, with my face on the camera.
Yeah.
And I was reading it like a robot, and I was like, But, like, now, I pull my phone out, and I'm just like, so? Like, it seems easier.
Even before you came on the podcast, you said you was a little bit nervous today. And I think anytime someone puts lights and a camera on you is a little bit nervous because you don't want to say the wrong thing. You know, this is going on the internet. So my advice is just put it out there. Just be yourself, be authentic. If you're passionate about a subject, talk about it, enjoy it. You know, we're always there to learn. There's so many things I've discussed and talked about that science over time has disproved, and then I've had to correct myself or go back and do my research. And that's just life, I guess.
Yeah.
What are you excited about going forward with your PT career?
The journey. I enjoy what I'm doing now, and I can't wait for it to progress more and more and more.
Nice. And in terms of one tip, we ask all our guests this question: one tip for students and one tip for professionals. So what would your one tip for all the students, either currently on a PT course, maybe even just at university or college, or just doing any course in general, what would the one tip be that you'd give students?
Commit to it, because it will get hard. There's a lot of hard times with it, but then there's a lot of good times. But if you don't persevere through them, you'll miss out on it.
I like that. So commit to it. And one tip for fellow professionals, and again, this could be PTs, this could be people in other industries.
Probably improve your communication skills.
Oh, wow.
Because there's a lot of people that I've met that might be good PTs, but they're not the best with people. They don't speak to people the best. So if you can develop your communication skills, it'll help you get further than speaking like a robot or like you don't like people. Yeah,
I think even if you find a method of communication that works best for yourself and then try and implement it with the people that kind of are important to talk to, that's important. And again, where can people find you on social media, and what can they expect from your social media for the rest of 2023?
Instagram and Facebook. It's C_A_fitness. And the plan with my content is just to get better at it. Produce more videos, more quality content, and yeah.
So have you got like a set plan at the moment with your content? Are you looking at doing like X amount of reels a week?
At the minute, because I've only just started it, I just want to be as consistent as I can with it and keep coming up with ideas. The more like I'm getting used to it now, the more I'm going to try and develop that into actual solid plan.
Nice. And then I presume you're going to start like doing your online coaching on there and advertising it and having like a link to it.
That's it.
Awesome. Sounds really good, pal. Thank you very much for joining us on the podcast. It's always good to get Corey on. It's always good to get former students on. Me and Corey still keep in touch now, which is great. We're going to try and arrange a round of golf at some point. You also recently actually referred a student to us, so thank you very much for that. And I can see you mentoring other PTs in the future, actually.
Maybe one day.
Do you reckon because you already do that with one of the lads on our courses?
Yeah. It's between that and my own gym.
Nice. You've always said you wanted your own gym, so it's very interesting. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed episode 11, and if you did, please leave a comment below. Please review the podcast on whatever platform you are listening to it on, and if you don't mind sharing our story, please share it, as we want to help people, really. Thank you very much.
No worries.